5 disturbing true Home Alone stories. 1. The voice in the vents. Sarah was 14, home alone one evening while her parents were out for dinner. It was a quiet, uneventful night until she started hearing faint whispers. They were soft at first, almost indistinguishable from the creaks of the house, but they grew louder. The whispers seemed to be coming from the air vents. Curious, Sarah moved closer to the vent in the living room, straining to make out the words. To her horror, she realized it was someone calling her name, slowly, deliberately, as if savoring each syllable. Terrified, she called her parents, but they dismissed her fears, telling her it was probably just the wind. She tried to convince herself they were right until she heard a sharp, metallic clanging from the basement, the vent cover being unscrewed. When the police arrived, they found the basement vent wide open, with clear signs of tampering. They searched the house but found no one. But the most chilling part was the dust-covered mattress hidden deep in the crawl space, with empty food wrappers and a faded photo of Sarah taken from her bedroom window. 2. The man behind the curtain. Emma, a 16-year-old, was enjoying a rare night to herself. Her parents had gone out of town and she had the house to herself. Around midnight, she got a strange feeling, as if she were being watched. She dismissed it, blaming her nerves, but the feeling wouldn't go away. Determined to prove she was alone, Emma checked every room, eventually making her way to her parents' bedroom. Everything seemed normal until she glanced at the long, heavy curtains by the window. They looked slightly off, as if someone had disturbed them recently. Heart pounding, she yanked the curtain aside. Behind it stood a man, gaunt and pale, grinning at her. He lunged, but she managed to slam the door shut and lock it just in time. She called the police, who arrived within minutes. When they searched the house, they found a duffel bag hidden in the attic filled with rope, duct tape, and a knife. The man, it turned out, had been stalking Emma for weeks, waiting for the perfect moment when she was alone. House 3. The phone calls. Katie was 17 and home alone for the weekend. Her parents had gone to visit relatives, leaving her in charge of the house. It was late on the first night when the phone rang. When she answered, all she heard was breathing, heavy, labored breathing. She hung up, unnerved, but the phone rang again. This time, a voice whispered, "I'm watching you." Terrified, Katie locked all the doors and called the police. They advised her to stay calm and assured her they would trace the call if it happened again. For the next few hours, the phone rang sporadically, each time with the same message, "I'm watching you." Finally, the police called back. They had traced the call. "The calls are coming from inside the house," the officer said urgently. "Get out now." Katie fled to a neighbor's house and the police arrived minutes later. They found a man hiding in the upstairs closet, still holding the cordless phone he had used to terrorize her. 4. The shadow in the backyard. Mark was 13 when his parents decided he was old enough to stay home alone. It was supposed to be a simple evening, watch TV, eat snacks, and go to bed. But as dusk fell, Mark noticed a figure standing in the backyard. At first, he thought it was just a trick of the light, but when he looked again, the figure was closer, standing near the tree at the edge of the yard. Mark's heart raced. He couldn't make out any details, just a dark silhouette staring directly at him. He ran to lock the doors, but when he glanced out the window again, the figure was gone. Relieved, he tried to calm down, convincing himself it was just his imagination. But then he heard the soft tap, tap, tap on the glass behind him. Turning slowly, Mark saw the shadowy figure standing just outside the sliding glass door, pressing its face against the glass. Its features were obscured, but the smile was unmistakable. Mark bolted from the house, running to a neighbor's for help. When the police arrived, they found footprints in the yard, leading from the trees to the door, but no sign of the intruder. Whoever it was had vanished into the night. The locked door. Lena was 15 when it happened. Her parents were out for the evening, and she was upstairs getting ready for bed. The house was silent, save for the occasional creak of the old wooden floors. As she brushed her teeth, she heard a faint knocking sound coming from downstairs. Assuming it was just the house settling, she ignored it. But the knocking continued, growing louder and more insistent. Lena crept down the stairs, her heart pounding in her chest. The knocking was coming from the front door. Peeking through the peephole, she saw a man standing on the porch. He looked normal enough, clean-shaven, dressed in a suit, but something about him felt off. He didn't look directly at the peephole, instead staring at the ground as he knocked again. Lena stayed silent, hoping he would leave, but then he spoke, his voice low and calm. "I know you're home, just let me in." Panicking, Lena ran back upstairs and locked herself in her bedroom. She could hear the man jiggling the front door handle, trying to get in. She called the police, who promised to send someone over immediately. The man continued to try to force his way inside until he suddenly stopped. Lena listened, holding her breath, but all she heard was silence. When the police arrived, they found the front door slightly ajar, the lock scratched and damaged, but the man was gone, leaving behind no trace, except for the chilling message scratched into the wood of the door. "See you soon." These unsettling stories remind us of the vulnerabilities we face when we're alone. The eerie sense of being watched, the unexpected knock at the door. What would you do if you found yourself in their shoes?